Ok, vamos contigo.
Hello and welcome to the CommUnity project. Our project is to give more diverse voices a way of engaging with the community through radio or podcasting. So this project is by Momentum. Welcome Silvia Bernal to our CommUnity project podcast. I am going to interview you just on your experience. We want to know what your experience is like in doing community radio with the Latin American community. So can we start by you telling me how you got into Radio Latina?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Lola, for this opportunity. We started with Radio Latina like 7 years ago. Because we had the opportunity to participate in a training with Near FM 90.3 FM. Yeah, it's a community radio station in the north side of Dublin, and they usually do a training like 3 times a year for everyone who wants to get involved in radio broadcasting. So, and I remember I was part from a very nice project called Culture Shots. That it was a project run by I don't remember the trainer. I remember was an American woman, and she was actually really nice, providing us all the origin of radio in Ireland, providing training as well. How can everyone do a radio show in our community radio station, and everyone with a voice who wants to give the voice to their community can also create any content to be broadcasted on radio. And that was one of the nicest things to do with Culture Shots, because we were a very diverse group with people from different countries, not just me or Irish people. There was also people from Vietnam, Spain. I remember it was some countries in Africa, so I don't remember which countries specifically. And we had the opportunity to do like a small podcast in pairs. And since that, so I had like in my heart like the idea to do a radio show, and Near FM gave us the opportunity to create like a project or a proposal for the radio program, and they explained to us as well that every Wednesday they have like the whole programming, especially in the afternoon, is dedicated to other languages. So in that way, one person who was from Spain, I remember was a friend of mine as well, Hector, proposed to create Radio Latina in Dublin, which was a radio show mainly in Spanish for the Latino communities in Dublin. And we started with very basic shows, mostly music, some sections, reading poetry, reading some articles. And then, we had more people interested in the show, and we had some volunteers doing some sections in other kind of topics, like a section called En la Jugada. That was a small section like to talk just about sports, but in Spanish as well. And then we focus mostly to do interviews in Spanish with connecting people from Latin America who are living in Ireland or living in Dublin especially, and people who had different projects and they wanted to share those projects, but not share only in English. They wanted to share and talk about those projects in their own language. And that is why Radio Latina felt like a nice project, so to give the voice to that community, because they didn't have to speak in English to share what they are doing for the community. They wanted to share what they are doing with the community, but in their own language. And that was, I think, was important for us to do. And that is the way that I got involved in radio broadcasting. I have a background in Bolivia in journalism and radio production as well. So, but here in Ireland, to go to a commercial radio, so it's so difficult, especially because I don't speak very fluent English. So, and that is like a barrier. So in that case, as an immigrant, I had to create my own space, my own voice, so to express and provide that voice as well to my community.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So you would say, what other obstacles do you feel you had on your way to getting this programming ready besides that language? Was there any other barriers that you faced?
It was mainly the language, I think. To get into a radio station, I think the main barrier is the language. I had tried to apply for other commercial stations just to do some apprentice, like a internship or something. And I didn't get any because I'm not a local. I'm not I don't speak English fluently either. That was, I think, the main thing. The second thing, I think, was my immigration status as well. Because at the beginning, I was the first, I'm living already here like 12 years. And the first 5 years, I was with a student visa. And when I was as a student, so the main barrier was to get a job full-time because I was not allowed to get a job full-time. So in those 5 years, I had usually to focus in my English course or other courses that I was doing at the moment, and to pay my bills. That was mainly the thing. But that is why then I think it was like a nice opportunity to have this training with Near FM, even if I had the background in media before. So I was able to see like that anyone can do radio, so it doesn't matter. So I know a lot of technical stuff to do radio production, but it was really nice to see that other people from different ages and backgrounds so had the opportunity to get a microphone, a reporter, recorder, and feel free to ask questions, make interviews, and then to manage a small software to create something nice. Personally, the main barrier was that the language and my immigration status. I think that was a little bit.
The process of setting up the Radio Latina, was there like a lot of documents that might have caused a problem, or financial, funding that may have affected you went about the process?
To create the show, the process by itself, it was not difficult because we had the space in radio and Near FM. We had that space 1 hour a week to put one show for an hour a week, and we still have it.
Yes.
But the main problem was to get some funding, because at the moment we are running the show or the whole project of Radio Latina with volunteers. And to get, as we work, all our volunteers, all are usually students or people also trying to live in Ireland. So they need to work, they need to study, they need to do other things. They have family as well, but they love to do radio as well. So they try to help us as much as they can when they can. So to create a piece to put on the show. But it's very sad sometimes that we cannot have a little bit of funding to support these people who wants to do radio and make from the radio show some kind of a living as well. That is, I think, that is the difficult part at the moment, because we are running the show on a volunteer basis mainly. We had like 4 years ago, a little bit of funding with the Community Integration Fund. It was for 10 podcasts that we did in Spanish for Latino American women in Ireland. So those are in our website as well. That was a nice project. We had a little bit of funding, but we cannot have that every time. So that's difficult. It's difficult to get funding, so to do something that we want to do. So
yes. Do you feel that there should be funding, because there's a big need for this community radio for the Latin American community?
Yeah, I think so. I think there should be like more funding for people who want to express themselves using radio. And of course, to do something more unique. Sometimes because, we live in Ireland and we have to do everything in English or in Irish, but in English. So, but I think as a Latin American, sometimes you also want to connect with your own people. And for that, so you prefer to communicate in your own language. And that is the easy way. And there are some things that you can explain and express yourself even with more emotion when you are doing it with your language and not in English. So it's more difficult to express. And doing a radio show is very powerful. It's I think to be in the radio is very powerful, because every time when I do a radio show or someone sees me on Facebook, they get in contact with me and say, "Oh, I want to do a show. I have this proposal, or I have this as well. How can I do this show?" A lot of producers, if I can say, a lot of people think that Radio Latina is like a whole station, a big station that they can go and propose a show for an hour, 2 hours, come and get some kind of work. I am getting like in Radio Latina's emails, I'm getting like every month CVs from people living in Ireland, from Latin America, sending me their CVs and proposals saying, I want to do this. So I am a journalist, I am a video producer, a broadcaster, so I want to do this. Can I have a space in this? And for the moment, we don't have that opportunity to support other producers to have a space in radio. We can provide. We are trying to create like a digital radio using our website, but even that is difficult because you have to use software, and usually that software has to be paid. So even if we pay just to get like 100 listeners, so we have to pay like every month a little bit of money to get that link in the website that we can say, okay, our show is every Wednesday, so anyone in the world can listen our show using this link. But we need to pay for that every month, something, Entonces, sorry, I'm missing in Spanish. So that's, I think, the main problem. So to get some financial support from local governments or local organizations for projects that immigrants want to do in their own language with their own community.
Yeah, I feel that that's amazing. And like you said, sometimes we just need to form a connection or communicate in our own language. And that it brings us together to also talk about our own problems, that we may be facing, that we can help each other out with. Yeah, it would be great to see Radio Latina grow and be an actual radio station that's there all the time and can provide, as you said, an outlet for other people around the country who have this talent, who have experience in radio. So,
Yeah, that's the dream, actually. Well, at the moment, we have a small team from people that are active in Radio Latina. Myself, I am from Bolivia. Another person from Chile, who is Ricardo. And we have also the other collaborators from Mexico, it's Guadalupe also. And we have another collaborator that she was living in Ireland years ago. Her name is Maria Teresa. She's from Venezuela, but now she's in France. So, but from France, she usually sends us like some content, not so often, maybe once a month, every 2 months sometimes. But we still have the connections with other people as well. And the amazing thing about doing radio show online now with the help of social media is that people from our own countries or from Latin America, people who are living in Latin America, are contacting us. So, because they want also to be on the show, they will also want to show their work, not just in Latin America. They want to get connections in Ireland with people living in Ireland. So that's amazing, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing. You're reaching not just people here, but in other countries, in other continents. So yeah, that's a really far reach. And yeah, it would be ideal to see you grow. Do you feel that your viewers is growing, like the viewership and the amount of people every year?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to measure because that is measured by, especially the local radio station near FM. They have their own metrics, so to know how many people are listening when the show is live. But I can measure sometimes using the website tools, for example, and we have people listening our show, especially when we put like kind of podcasts, like we stream through YouTube or Facebook. So there are more people that not are listening to us, for example, every Wednesday from 6 to 7, but they are listening the show on a Friday because they got the link or they found the link through a friend or something, and they are listening the show in a different place, in a different time, no in the same time. So, but I think our audience is growing because also sometimes we have more followers in Instagram now. We are trying to be active with social media like Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, trying to put the interviews there. It's a lot of work that we have to do with social media. So to help people know about Radio Latina more. But with the 2-3 people at the moment in our team, so we are trying to do as much as we can, and also trying to do our own stuff. Like, I have a baby, or the other girl has another baby. Javier has to work. He's also dealing with some visas issues as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's challenging to do something that we love, but well, I'm grateful that there are always people trying to help in a little bit. Not always. No, it's not like something that we have the same people every year. I am probably the only one who is from the beginning. But for radio in Radio Latina, I think I have met like 20 people around these years, so who have helped to us to produce a little bit of content. Now they are back to their countries, or they are living in another countries as well. But we keep in contact, or we keep in touch in some way. Yeah, that's basically. It will be great that, as you said, Radio Latina will have a home at some point where it will be the home for other producers as well to bring more content to Radio Latina.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had any businesses come to you and offer to help, to sponsor the radio?
Yes, we had a couple of organizations. One was Casa Mexico. Casa Mexico. Sí. She was also offering us, because she wanted us to cover their events as well. Usually is when some people want to cover their events, they are asking us if we can cover and how much we charge. And we don't usually have those numbers either, because we don't usually charge, because everyone is doing this for because they want. So, and we always ask it like a little bit of collaboration through our website. So we have a PayPal for donations as well. And this Casa Mexico did it a couple of times, a donation as well, I remember. And then remember the Embassy of Mexico, not like a business, but it was also supporting us with a little bit of money. But that was a long time ago. It was for an event as well, for an event that we were doing. I suppose Radio Latina can have more potential, but it's a lot of work that we have to do, and sometimes we don't have that time to do because, as I mentioned, so we have to get bills paid, and we have other important things to do. And at the moment, this Radio Latina is like a hobby, but I hope one day will be something that can help other people, and we can make a living of Radio Latina.
It would be amazing, and it would be amazing to have it be permanent and have more time, because I think it's very important, like you said, to have connection to your culture, and the radio that you guys are producing is a way to do that. I think it's not just a connection, but it's also people who are from other countries' well-being. It helps our well-being to have that, our music and our language and our food and everything spoken about that's going on in the local area that's based on our culture. So I really congratulate you, because based on this project, I've learned how much work it is to do radio and podcasting. So it's amazing that you guys doing it on a volunteer basis, and I really I applaud you for doing it.
Thank you.
For sharing your experience. And this will be seen in our different countries that we have partners in for the CommUnity project. So I think it's going to be lovely to have a Latin American podcast and to share your experience in Ireland. Thank you so much, Silvia.
Thank you, Lola. Thank you.